number is it?
Illinois.
Okay. Do we want to?
Yeah, 104.
Okay.
I'm just singing the chorus.
Yeah. Okay. What's that? It's not. That's not Phi Beta Kappa.
Yeah, that's true.
That's Phi Beta Kappa. You know, the pin is something else.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well. Yeah. This is a nice lanyard that I got.
Trying to get me mixed up. Always. Yes, that's what he's doing.
Yeah, I'm diabolical that way.
Okay, so we're supposed to come and sing now. Oh, for the opera. But are we supposed to get my
It's a little warm.
What's that?
Hi.
I can't hear you. I told her I'd shout. Them being here quiet.
You did.
So,
All right.
Right, thank you,
My
excuse
job's
me.
done.
1, 2, 3, 4.
So we just need to come back to that.
I think
Not on
so.
for anything else. Okay, so we can just sit down.
Hey, good morning. Sorry. That helps. That does help in kind of carry the singing part of it. I will sing, and it'll be really helpful for you guys. Yeah, thank you. David does a lot of heavy lifting on those usually on the singing side.
Good morning. All right, my name is Rob Bray. I'm a member of the board here at Tennessee Valley Unitarian Universalist Church. I would like to welcome you on behalf of the board and the program council. And on that note, if we could just take a brief moment to turn around and welcome everyone that's watching online. Good morning and welcome to everyone watching us online. You are welcome here, whoever you are, wherever you are from, and wherever you are on your journey. If you would like more information on TVUUC, please fill out the visitor information card found in the seat back or pew in front of you, and drop them in the collection plates as they come around. If you or your family are interested in our RE program, our Youth Religious Education program, please visit the RE table. It was located on the right side as you walk through the lobby this morning. My wife, Allison Bray, will be there after the service to answer any questions that you might have. A brief announcement from Leslie Jengosian on the rummage sale, followed by Barbara Taylor with Justice Knox.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Leslie Jengosian, and I wanted to make announcements about Rummage 2025. I am once again your rummage sale chair. Yes. Okay. So anyway, we have several roles that happen during the week of rummage sale. Obviously, our day-to-day of bringing things in and sorting them out and pricing, but we also have other needs. We need a couple of crews with a pickup truck who can help pick up furniture. I've already heard of 3 different pickups that will need to happen during that week. Because volunteers pop in through the day, sometimes on their lunch hours, sometimes between work and going home. We also like to make sure we have some healthy food in the kitchen. So I have some volunteers already bringing meals, but if you'd like to stop by and bring food, it's always appreciated. And then, let's see, we also have the setup of the sanctuary after the sale, but we have to take the sanctuary down the Sunday before we start working on the sale, and that is on April 6th. So if you are somebody who can hang out for a few minutes after church on April 6th, help us move these pieces around, help us stack chairs, help us empty the sanctuary and set up tables, that would be great. And then the sale on April 12th is from 8 to 2 p.m., and we will need to reset the sanctuary after we're done and give it a good cleaning. So there's a number of roles that you can participate with. Some people say, I don't do rummage. Great, bring food. Or, I don't do rummage. Great, can we borrow your pickup and you for a day? There's all sorts of ways to get involved. My number is in the newsletter for last week, where I did a little blurb on this, where you can find me on Realm. You are welcome to call me or email me anytime and say, I want to rummage. Last year we had 43 unique volunteers, and I think after I published that number, I found a couple more names that I hadn't added. So it really does take a village to make this happen. So get your rummage ready, get your boxes ready, and let me know how you can help this year. I look forward to seeing you. This is really one of my favorite events. Has been for 20 years. I always get to talk to a lot of people and get to know a lot of people, and I hope you'll do it too. Thank you.
Good morning, and my name is Barbara Taylor, and I'm representing your Justice Knox team leaders. And I wanted to tell you that I listened to a great documentary about a woman named Orrin O'Brien, who played bass with one orchestra for 55 years. And she said, it is always better to make music together than to make music alone. And if anybody knows about doing things together, it's Justice Knox. We are 23 congregations working together. And you are an important part of what's coming up. Even though all our committees are deep, deep into research, We are also preparing for the Nehemiah Action Assembly that will take place at the Civic Auditorium. We want to have every seat full this year. Last year, the congregation that brought the most people to the action was us. So we'd like to continue that, but boy, you should have seen the responses of other congregations when they announced our smaller congregations. Anyway, please stop by right outside the Lizzie Crozer French room door. We have some things that we can give you to tell you more about it, and I look forward to seeing you all at the Nehemiah Action Assembly.
All right, thank you, Barbara and Leslie. The Alliance book sale is this coming Saturday, February 15th from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. And volunteers are more than welcome to help Thursday or Friday from about 10:30 a.m. onward. If you've seen the Love Your Neighbors signs around, we want TVUUC to be a part of that organization. It is called AKIN, A-K-A-I-N. It's an acronym for Allies of Knoxville's Immigrant Neighbors. There's going to be a brief meeting right after the service in the Lizzie Crozer French room at 12:15, just to get some information out so we can become a part of that organization. So I don't think that meeting will take any more than 5 minutes, but if you'd like to know more about that, just stick your head in there, and hopefully we can become a part of that organization. Now I'll introduce Gordon Gibson to tell us about our Share the Plate offering this morning with the Beck Center.
Good morning. Before Gordon gets up here, my name is Claudia Presley, and I'm the Director of Finance and Operations. Gordon is coming to tell you all about our Share the Plate organization today, but my job right now is to tell you how to give. It's super easy. If you're here in the building, there are these signs, little visual aid there, QR code, point your phone at it. It takes you right to our secure giving site. If you are watching online, you can click a Give or Give Now button. If you are in our lobby, there is a giving kiosk. If you want to write a check or put cash in the offering plate as it passes through in just a few minutes, you are more than welcome to do that. Anything that you give today that is not marked as a pledge goes to our Share the Plate organization, which is Beck Cultural Center. Let me just say, some of you may have heard that Black History Month is canceled. Hey, guess what? Here at TVUUC, it's not canceled, and Gordon is going to tell you a whole lot about what you can do. Thank you.
The Beck Cultural Exchange Center is where Knox County and East Tennessee African American history and culture lives. And it truly does live. The Beck Center is a repository for history. It is, for example, where Nikki Giovanni decided her papers and collected artifacts belongs. But it's also forward-looking, making available to all of us assets, dealing with the present and looking toward the future. This congregation has been connected to the Beck in many ways for a long time. Later this year, the current President and Executive Director of the Beck, the Reverend Renee Kessler, will be preaching for us. But looking back to the beginning of the Beck, one of the key people in that beginning was a fellow named Bob Booker, who, back in his 20s, was a member of this congregation. So, give generously, keep that connection alive. The Beck Center needs us. We need the Beck Center.
Thank you, Gordon. Please join us after the service for coffee and conversations in the fellowship hall and hopefully on the patio to enjoy some of this spring-like weather. If you haven't already done so, please silence your electronic devices as we enter into worship.
Imainani li mili, uchshiani liatzmi mani, v'imno achsha, ein matai, imno achsha, ein matai. If I am not for me, who will be? If I am just for me, what does that make me? And if not now, then when? If not now, then when? Im einani li mili, uchshiani leatzmi ma'ani. V'im lo achshav, ein matai, im lo achshav, ein matai. If I am not for me, who will be? If I am just for me, what does that make me? And if not now, then when? If not now, then when?
We gather today with sacred intention to declare that justice is our prayer. We affirm and covenant with the beloved community that is possible. Not here, not quite yet. The seeds have been planted time and again, and we remember all those who went before us who made beloved community a dream that could be realized. Justice is our prayer. May our time of worship and service together continue to water the budding trees of our diverse interdependence. May our time of worship give air and nourishment to the parts of our collective spirits that need to grow and thrive, that embrace equity as a known way of being. Justice is our prayer. We affirm and covenant with the beloved community that is possible. May it be so. Let us worship together.
Join together in our opening hymn in the gray hymnal 145 as Tranquil Stream.
You're going to need this one later too.
As tranquil streams that meet and merge and flow.
are here together here in this room, watching from elsewhere in the building or at home. It feels really good on Sundays to be together. And I have a story to share this morning, and it is adapted from a story written by somebody named Heidi Stempel, and it's called Adrift. Can anybody guess where this story might take place? Any ideas? The water, yeah. This story takes place on an ocean where there was a little mouse in a tiny boat. You're gonna have to go with me for this one. The mouse was on the boat, and the ocean was really choppy, and there were lots of waves, and the little boat was pitched back and forth. How might you feel if you were on a tiny boat that was getting pitched back and forth in the waves? And the water was the darkest green little mouse had ever seen, and little mouse felt scared. And little mouse felt very, very alone. Little mouse tried to raise their sail, but the wind was too strong. And little mouse had an anchor, and they thought about dropping the anchor, but the ocean was too deep. Now, as the clouds rolled in, a storm began. But over the edge where the clouds had not yet covered, the moon was shining, and little mouse saw one twinkling star. Have any of us ever seen a star before? What might somebody do on a star? Wish. Little mouse made a wish. Little mouse looked up at the star and just said, please, please. But the storm broke, and the rain came down, and the thunder, can we make some thunder sounds? And little mouse was frightened and felt very afraid, but then far across the water, in the grayness, little mouse saw something. It was a tiny smudge, a tiny speck. What might it be? What do you think? It might be a star, it might be on the water. A little island, that's a really good guess. So little mouse wasn't sure and kept looking and had a spyglass and looked through it, and it got bigger and bigger, and then little mouse realized it was another little boat. And after a while, a voice came across the water and said, hello. And what do you think little mouse said? Hello. And then the boat came closer and closer until they were pretty close together, not so close they would crash into one another. And the captain of the other boat waved, and what did little mouse do? Little mouse waved. And they were there together on the water for some time as the water continued to pitch. And after a little while, the captain of the other boat waved at little mouse and said, look over there. And what do you think they saw? Another boat. And then another. I bet they would have been really excited to see an island. Another boat, and then another, and another. And as the boats came, they pitched back and forth, and front and back, and up and down on the waves. And little mouse was still scared, but little mouse didn't feel so alone. Now, every now and then, as they were pitched by the waves, what might have happened? A boat might crash into another boat. And when that happened, they helped each other, made sure people were pulled to safety, but everyone was still there on their little boats, boat after boat, some with just one little mouse on them, some with another single creature or person, some with several. And they continued through the storm, throughout the night, as what did the boats do? They bobbed up and down and rocked back and forth. And little mouse was still a little frightened, but little mouse did not feel alone. And as it became close to morning, the storm began to quiet down. And the waves began to get smaller and smaller until there was just a gentle rocking. Can we rock on our tiny boats? And then far across on the edge of the water, little mouse began to see a brightness. And then it became peach, and then yellow, and pink, and purple, and what was happening over on the horizon? The sun was coming up. And after a while, when one of the boats shouted something out, they said, "Land ho!" And now, what did they see? Maybe an island or maybe the shore. And now that the wind had died down some, little mouse and the others on the other boats put their sails up, and one by one, together, they traveled to the edge of the water. And little mouse got to the shore and jumped off their little boat, as everyone else did too. They had made it through the storm. They had made it through together, and they knew that whatever else came, they would be together. I suspect that some of us have been in times before, or might even be in times now, that feel stormy, that feel uncertain, where we feel worried about what's coming, and we know that we will make it through better if we do it together. And so it is, once again, so good to be gathered in community together. That is our story for this morning, and our learners and leaders who are headed to our religious exploration spaces will head out while we sing our recessional. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Mebby Jackson, and I'm a member of the spiritual care team. We are a group of heart-centered, deep listeners that help with the caring needs of the congregation. We can be reached by phone or text, and the number is printed in your order of service, and it's also listed on the website. We have many ways in which we assist the congregation, and today one of those ways is our listening booths. On the second Sunday of every month, we have two members of our team. Today, they are Tina Becker and Matt Matvey, and they are going to be available in the hallway towards the RE wing of the church after the service. So please take advantage of this offering and let them listen, because there is no magic like a receptive and compassionate listener. So we have some joys and concerns today. Jim Hartzell has both a joy and a concern. His joy is that he and Suzanne's granddaughter, 9-year-old granddaughter, McKinley, has survived for a year with her bone marrow transplant and has successfully diminished her leukemia. So that is a wonderful joy. Unfortunately, at the party that she had to celebrate this milestone, she got sick with the flu and some other coronavirus, not the COVID one. And so she is, though, recovering well, which shows that the work that she went through in this past year is paying off. Another concern that the Hartzell family has is that Suzanne got sick at that same party, and because she was a little weak from the illness and she hadn't had her coffee yet, she fell and broke a couple of bones in her foot. And she's now recovering at a rehab facility in Ohio. So we send the Hartzell family our deep concern, and we'll lift them with loving light. And we also have Carol Kraus, who was a former president of our congregation, is in the Knoxville Rehabilitation Center on Middlebrook Pike from a knee surgery that she's recovering from. She'll be there a couple of weeks, maybe 3, and she would request visitors, especially those who would bring any kind of chocolate. Her husband, Steve, is safely at home with the caregivers. And also, please keep Bob and Jenna Mashburn in your thoughts and prayers as Bob is in the hospital undergoing medical testing. And today we are missing our musical director, David Asbury, as he is at home caring for his wife who is recovering from COVID. We are very grateful that he chose to keep that illness out of the church and keep himself well and not share any bugs with us. And the house band is very grateful for his advanced preparation so that the music could go on today without a hitch. Yay. I would like to say that my heart goes out to David. He works so very hard at what he does, and he makes our music just perfect. So thanks for that. And our final joy today is that Sharon and Ori Weaver finally welcomed their twins to this world yesterday afternoon. We had Hudson, who is 4 pounds and 13 ounces, and Silas, who is 4 pounds. We surround them with the joy of life and love, and we are so happy that the ordeals of her health are now going to be rectified a little bit by having given birth, but then they have the audacity to have to parent twin boys. Oh my. So with these joys and concerns said today and those unsaid, we send our love and our light out. So please join us in singing the song that helps us share our hearts.
Good morning. I'm John McNair, and I've been asked to speak for a few minutes this morning about what TVUUC means to me. Suffice it to say that this place, these people, mean a lot. I've attended here and no other congregation since my parents, BJ and Jimmy, brought me here in the very early 1960s. In that time, I've attended the RE program, been part of the first About Your Sexuality classes, or Our Whole Lives, or what it is now. Went through the UFO and LRY programs, joined the choir, performed under many choir directors, including Leslie, who's around here doing auction stuff, I'm sure. Attended protests, found friends, fellow musicians, brought my 2 sons. It didn't really take, but you know. Hiked in the Smokies, learned from scientists and professors in the congregation, visited and dined with interesting and like-minded people, served on some committees. These things happen. Helped install a pipe organ, celebrated lives well lived, and all the other things one does in such a beloved community. Now I've come to a time in my life where I'll be leaving Knoxville. Sherry and I met in Florida back in the 1970s and moved back to Knoxville so I could finish my degree at the university. I think her plan was, we'll go get your degree and then we'll get you a job in Florida. Regardless, one degree led to another, then a job at the university and a couple of sons, and we settled in. After empty nesting, we've moved downtown and have lived quite a comfortable life there. In our historic apartment building, a couple of you have been by. We were down there with in-town, walkable shows, food, Knoxville. Of course, now our apartment has gone condo, and it's time for a change. At 69, we also wanted to move someplace where we can stay for good long while. After several options, we decided to move south again. We both have siblings in St. Augustine vicinity, and Sherry would prefer to live someplace warm. We can understand that. While visiting over Christmas, we explored some possible residences there and found a nice small rental house near the beach in Atlantic Beach. They're near the ocean, walkable restaurants, nice stuff. And she made a point that it's very close to the airport that the Allegiant flies to for $45 or something, and it has some extra bedrooms, so hope to see some of you. As a bonus, one of our girl support group members from Knoxville lives just a half mile away in Atlantic Beach and vouches for the neighborhood. Atlantic Beach looks like a nice little community. This is not easy, particularly moving away from this congregation. TVUUC is now more than ever a sanctuary in this red state, an incubator for liberal religious leaders. We've supported and encouraged at least 20 new UUs in seminary, including Jenny Arthur, Phoenix Bell Shelton saw last week, Isabel Call, John Coffey, Patty Cox. I can keep going. It goes all the way through Christopher Watkins Lamb and, Chris Buice. So, and I see members from this congregation, Gordon, everybody, in every meaningful progressive movement around Knoxville, as well as at every cultural event and brew pub. Look around you. This is a beloved community, and now is the time to show up here. Fill the parking lot, bring your friends who want to be part of something bigger than themselves, and together we do make a difference in the world here in East Tennessee. As for me, I may be leaving town, but I'm not leaving TVUUC community. I've renewed my pledge for $500 a month for the next year, so dig deep. And of course, we'll take advantage of our streaming services on Sunday. Now more than ever, this is home. This is our refuge in a conservative area. And being here is a statement for unconditional love. Revel in it.
John McNair was singing in the choir when I came here in the 1990s, and during the pandemic, my kids tuned in to watching online, and they could hear his voice above all others, and it was a comforting reminder of their childhood. I now invite you to give generously to the work of this church and the work of the Beck Center.
Ni placer ni pasión del amor.
my numbers mixed up. So our responsive reading is actually 419 in the back of your gray hymnal. And these words were my mom had written out and framed in calligraphy. It speaks to the power of the present moment. So let's say together, look to this day, for it is life, the very life of life. In its brief course lies all the verities and realities of your existence, the bliss of growth, the glory of action, the splendor of beauty. For yesterday is but a dream, and tomorrow is only a vision. But today well lived makes every yesterday a dream of happiness, and every tomorrow a vision of hope. Look well, therefore, to this day. And the next reading is also about the power of the present moment, but in a different context. It's from the I Have a Dream speech by Dr. Martin Luther King, and we often forget that speech, which is sort of a high mountaintop experience, was between the assassination of Medgar Evers and then the bombing of the 16th Street Church in Birmingham. So it's a hopeful moment, but it's in the midst of challenging times. We have also come to this hallowed spot, the Lincoln Memorial, to remind America of the fierce urgency of now. This is no time to engage in the luxury of cooling off or to take the tranquilizing drug of gradualism. Now is the time to make real the promises of democracy. Now is the time to rise from the dark and desolate valley of segregation to the sunlit path of racial justice. Now is the time to lift our nation from the quicksands of racial injustice to the solid rock of brotherhood. Now is the time to make justice a reality for all God's children. With these words in mind, let's enter into a time of meditation and prayer. Make us instruments of your peace. Where there is indifference, may we bring justice. Where there is selfishness, may we bring equity. Where there is stagnation, may we bring transformation. Where there is homogeneity, may we bring pluralism. Where there is isolation, may we bring interdependence. Where there is greed, may we bring generosity. Where there is hatred, may we bring love. Make us instruments of your peace, with love at the center of everything we do. Let us rest in silence. Amen. You may remain seated for our next hymn, 113 in the gray hymnal, Where is Our Holy Church? words written by the Hindu poet Kalidasa we read earlier. They are worth repeating. Look to this day, for it is the very life of life. In its brief course lie all the verities and realities of your existence, the bliss of growth, the glory of action, the splendor of beauty. For yesterday is but a dream, and tomorrow is only a vision. But today well lived makes every yesterday a dream of happiness, and every tomorrow a vision of hope. Look well, therefore, to this day. Poets and sages from all the great world religions have taught us about the power of the present moment, of being in the present moment. But this week I saw a cartoon in the New Yorker, and it had a man lying down on a psychiatrist's couch, and he said to his therapist, he said, "I want to live in the moment, just not this moment." And I think many of us in this room might feel the same way. We want to live in the moment, but maybe not now, not this moment. Now, there's a verse in the Tao Te Ching that speaks to living in the present moment. Without going outside, you may know the whole world. Without looking through the window, you may see the ways of heaven. The farther you go, the less you know. Thus the sage knows without traveling, sees without looking, works without doing. Now, my brother Sam introduced me to the ancient Chinese writings, the Tao Te Ching, when he was in college and I was in high school. And he was studying to be an Episcopal youth minister. That was his career goal, but he was captivated by these scriptures from Asia. And he said to me at that time, he said, "I feel like a Taoist Christian." And I think that's one of the powers of Taoism, is you can gain the wisdom of it no matter what tradition or philosophy you practice. You can be a Taoist humanist, a Taoist Buddhist, a Taoist Hindu. The universality and the simplicity is something that we can all embrace, even as I sometimes resist it, because I am a restless person. In fact, one of the reasons why I'm at home in East Tennessee is I can be restless and still stay here. I can climb the Smoky Mountains and hike through the Cherokee, and I can be restless and stay in place. My first job after college was in mental health, and I worked in a treatment program for teenagers who were recovering alcoholics and addicts, and I went to many small groups, AA and NA, and I helped lead some groups there in the program. And while I was leading those groups, when that was a role that I did regularly, and leading those groups was not too much unlike our small group ministries here or our heart-to-heart circles here, other ways that 8 or 10 of us get together and check in with each other. But when I was doing that job, my friend Doug Buckwalter gave me a book called The Tao of Leadership by John Hyder, and he offered this, that one of the readings and meditations in that book is about leadership of groups. And you can think about it in that small group context or in the larger group context. The title of this meditation is Here and Now, and it's meant to be a commentary on the words we heard earlier from the Tao Te Ching. John Hyder wrote, "The wise leader knows what is happening in a group by being aware of what is happening here and now. This is more potent than wandering off into various theories or making complex interpretations of the situation at hand. Stillness, clarity, and consciousness are more immediate than any number of expeditions into distant lands of one's own mind. Such expeditions, however stimulating, distract both the leader and the group members from what is actually happening. By staying present and aware of what is happening, the leader can do less, yet achieve more." Now, so many spiritual traditions speak to the power of the present moment. There's Eckhart Tolle's book, The Power of Now. There's the Buddhist monk Thich Nhat Hanh's book, Present Moment, Wonderful Moment. And there's Ram Dass's book that's influenced by the Hindu tradition, Be Here Now. And yet, one of the things I appreciate about the Tao Te Ching is that it makes the connection between being present in the moment as an aspect of leadership, not just personal meditation, but an aspect of leadership. Stillness, clarity, and consciousness are not only good for our inner spiritual lives, but our leadership in the wider world. Now, last month, I got a chance to reconnect with an old friend from elementary school, Joe Milner. We were both preacher's kids. Both our dads were ministers at the Holy Trinity Episcopal Church in Decatur, Georgia, and we were thick as thieves in our young days. But I hadn't seen him in over 20 years. But he happened to be in Gatlinburg for a conference, and so we went hiking up to Laurel Falls. And one of the things about reconnecting with someone you haven't seen in a while is they help you remember things about yourself that you forgot and help you reconnect with parts of your own history. And as we were on our hike, Joe turned to me and said, "Do you remember the night we quit the Boy Scouts?" And oddly enough, until he said that, I had forgotten about that moment, but it just came back as clear as a bell when he said that. Our scout leader was retired military, and he had kind of a brusque and he had anger management problems, let's just say that. And the way Joe said it, Joe was describing it to me, he said, yeah, he was reaming you out one day, and you stood up and said quietly and calmly, "I don't have to take this," and walked out. I was in elementary school. I didn't have a ride. I didn't have a cell phone. But Joe Milner and my friend Tommy Lowndes of blessed memory said, well, if you're going to treat Chris like this, we're out too. And they walked out, and we walked around the neighborhood till our parents picked us up. And that's how Troop 6 lost its patrol leader, assistant patrol leader, and quartermaster. And we never went back. And I feel a little guilty because I think Joe could have been an Eagle Scout. So, but I think that might have been the moment I became a Unitarian Universalist. I didn't know, I never heard the words Unitarian Universalist. I had no idea what about the Unitarian Universalist tradition. But there was something about that moment that led to a kind of consciousness, a stillness, a clarity that the Unitarian suffragists, as they once declared, resistance to tyranny is obedience to God. So that sense of inner spirituality and challenging outward authority. Now, I think we are in a similar moment in our nation's history, in our world history. Eleanor Roosevelt once said, "No one can make you feel inferior without your consent." And now is a moment for stillness and clarity and consciousness. Now is the time to say, we do not give our consent. Dr. King once declared, "No one can ride your back unless it's bent." Now is a time of clarity, stillness, and consciousness. Now is a time to say, we don't have to bend our backs. We don't have to bend over. One of the guiding principles for anyone resisting authoritarianism in any culture, in any land, in any time is do not obey in advance. All around us we see people capitulating and surrendering, but most of the power given to authoritarian governments is given with the free consent of the government. of the governed, of the people. Now is a moment of clarity and consciousness. We do not have to surrender in advance. The theme for this year's stewardship drive is now more than ever. And this inspired me to post a question on our social media asking members of the congregation, friends of the congregation, why does the world need TVUUC now more than ever? And here are some of the answers I received. Devin Alley wrote, TVUUC is a safe space to find love and affirmation in an increasingly hostile world. TVUUC provides a foundation for us to build upon as we continually fight for justice, equality, and reason in unreasonable times. And TVUC provides a nourishing place to rest, recharge, and heal when we are exhausted from the fight. Matthew Blondell wrote, we need people that are willing to speak truth to power and show our faith by our actions. We have always been a champion of the voiceless. Now we just need to be louder in giving them a voice. And Maris Porter wrote, I think it holds true that not only do we strive to create beloved community within the church, but we work to bring that into the wider world. We view our principles and values as sacred, beneficial to all living beings and the earth itself. That gives me hope more than anything. Regardless of whoever wants to oppose us, we will continue to be the chalice flame lit in the darkness. This week I was in conversation with the Reverend John Butler of the Clinton AME Chapel, AME Zion Church. He's a member of the school board now, and he's been president of the NAACP. He's a real community leader. But he was talking about what he learned from his time in the military. He said, what I learned from the military as a young man is that when you're undergoing a blitz, a swift and relentless military attack where you're getting fire from both sides and getting blitz from the sky above, he said, when you're undergoing a blitz, the most important thing is to focus on your mission. Focus on your mission. And this advice from military training can help all of us who are engaged in the work of nonviolent social change in our culture. We can stay focused on our mission. And the mission of the Tennessee Valley Unitarian Universalist Church is to transform the world through acts of love and justice. Transform the world through acts of love and justice. So we are called to embrace the fierce urgency of now. Even so, I know what many of us are thinking. We want to be in the moment, just not this moment. Just not this moment. I completely understand that sentiment. And yet, now is the moment we're in. Now is the moment we have been given. So now is a time to commit to our church. We're in the middle of our pledge drive. It's a good time to make a pledge to the church, but not only of your money, not only of your financial generosity, but of your life force, your time, and your talent, for us together to recommit to our mission, to find a place within this beloved community where we can make a difference in the world. As activists say, get in where you fit in. Find out where your gifts are most helpful and bring them to the beloved community. And I invite you to do that, to get in where you fit in. And if you're walking down the hallway, you might look up at the bulletin boards and notice some of the many ways our congregation is trying to make a difference that we can be a part of. We can work for systemic change and revitalize grassroots democracy through Justice Knox and through UU the Vote and their One Thing at a Time campaign to get us to focus on we can't do everything, but we can do one thing at a time in this present moment. We can work for LGBTQIA rights with the welcoming congregation group. We can protect freedom of choice through our reproductive justice efforts. We can protect the environment through our Green Sanctuary program and by simple acts like picking up trash on the Greenway through the TVUUC Trail Trekkers. We can feed the hungry by cooking meals in the Volunteer Ministry Center or by delivering groceries to people in need through the fish program or by helping to stock our free food pantry here or working in the community garden. We can support our refugee assistance team or come to the meeting about Allies of Knoxville immigrants this Sunday after church. We can join Toucan, which is a new organization organizing UUs across the state to be a voice in Nashville on concerns. But another thing we can do is just be a safe space. Just be a safe space. Because if you're under assault all week, if you're undergoing vilification and demonization all week, then you can come here and have an experience of the beloved community together. As individuals, we cannot do everything, but we can do something. As Rabbi Hillel offered those discernment questions, if I am not for myself, who will be? If I am only for myself, what am I? And if not now, when? So I invite you to say 3 words together. Now is the time. Now is the time. To make real the promises of democracy. You just say now is the time. That's all you're Now is the time. To make real the promises of democracy. To rise from the dark and desolate valley to the sunlit path of hope. To lift our world from the quicksand of apathy and indifference and paralysis to the solid rock of action and solidarity and unity. To make justice a reality for all God's children. Say it again. One more time. So be it. I invite you to join in our closing hymn. Hymn 1014 in your teal hymnal. It says, standing on the side of love, we're changing it to answering the call of love. So.
The
church, the world awaits your liberating ministry. Go forward in the power of love. Proclaim the truth that makes us free.
Good job. I think as a team you did okay.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.